Hello everyone. This is SIG scheduling community meeting. And this meeting is recorded, so behave nice and let's get started. Today we have a topic from No Life Cycle Working Group. I haven't heard that, but I guess they are not coming today, so I think we can skip it. And
I think we can take it offline, truly.
yeah, there's no. And other the staging repo stuff.
Yeah, that's one topic. Probably we can start with KubeCon, your impressions and your discussions.
What is in Moche? Good. Yeah, basically I was in the booth. I got stuck at booth and talking with many people and probably it. The meeting, the SQL scheduling maintenance session was going pretty nice, I would say. And we've got a lot of questions. I guess around yeah, I've got a question around the volume enhancement, and they said that they would, uh, you know, focus on the GitHub. So probably we will get some, you know, notification from them later. And also we've got, as we expected, we've got a gang related question as well. And yeah, do you have something else, Mache?
No, like mostly what I was seeing was the lack of gang scheduling capabilities in the scheduler that was mentioned frequently, also in another sessions during KubeCon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And
So did
one,
anyone had
yeah,
some suggestions how gang scheduling should look like?
me, no. It's like, what about young scheduling? It's like a,
Mm.
vague question.
So yeah, so I actually even today I had a chance to talk to John Bellamaric because he is in Warsaw today, and I also came here to meet and chat with him.
Mhm,
And uh, f- there are some thoughts uh, how actually workload scheduling should look like.
mhm,
So we could say that workload scheduling is gang scheduling, but on the other hand, workload is something more than just a collection of pods. Because
mhm,
if we think about scheduling workloads, we can uh, know what type of workload it is. So we can have a little bit more semantic information about what actually we are going to schedule. So I can imagine that we can have many different scheduling approaches depending on what type of workload we are scheduling. And from what I understand, the main thing that we are missing in scheduler is actually how to aggregate pods into something some higher level hierarchy, so that we could identify all the objects that should be scheduled as a gang, as a group. Uh, so I think this is important how we define it. And of course, the second problem is how to schedule it. And you probably even mentioned it in your presentation, because I put those 2 points about the array, but the challenges are scheduling on internode dependencies. So this is something where gang scheduling seems completely appropriate. We simply need to find a best possible combination of nodes when we can schedule the workload. But the more challenging problem is how to use information about intranode dependencies. So something that we are currently not really tackling in SIG scheduling, because intranode dependencies are about devices that about the internal architecture of a node. So inside a node we have those NUMA nodes, and some of the elements work better together and don't work well if they are dispersed over the whole machine, because the communication between those components would have to go, for instance, through the main memory instead of some very local memory elements. So I think this is one of the big challenges. I'm not sure if you know how we are handling it currently, but as far as I know, this is a responsibility of kubelet to assign resources to a node in the most optimal fashion, so that they are talking to each other in the most optimal way. However, the problem is that this decision is taken by kubelet, so our scheduler does not know too much about that. In the array, there is only one, I think, attribute which says that please schedule only some DRA device if the NUMA node is exactly the same. I think this is the only expression that we can use to like restrict our scheduling to use the same NUMA node. But other than that, our scheduling framework is kind of limited, because the scheduler takes a decision about scheduling by picking the best node for a pod. So it cannot take into consideration like the internal architecture. It's additionally challenging when we think about group scheduling, because then how we place the workload, this is where it actually matters, how those elements talk together. So for instance, if we have two nodes which are run on the same, I don't know, PCI Express element, the communication between them is super fast, because they can use intra-chip communication and skip going through, the memory. Of course, it skip going through the external network card and so on. So the communication is way faster. So it is important for high performance workloads. So there are a lot of such challenges, and so far the array haven't focused that much on workload scheduling, because they are trying to come up with a semantic of selecting devices, but currently they are focused on selecting per node, per pod basis. So find the best placement for a pod. So when we think about scheduling workload and gang scheduling, there are a lot of new challenges, and I think those discussions will be ahead of us. And I wouldn't understand like gang scheduling as a simple thing that is just a matter of, even defining what is a workload. We will probably have to face a few other challenges.
Yeah. So the first point, like how to express the group, right? How to define the group, right? That part should be at least discussed with other stakeholders. Like, I don't know, probably Q team wants to use it eventually, and I guess other projects as well, or job set or something. I don't know, but other, I think we've got some this young schedule feature requests from other teams as well. So we should collaborate with them and define the API part. That is about API part. And yeah, implementation wise, at least we should start from a minimum step so that we don't, implement a huge stuff from the first point, from the first step. So we can, of course, later we can discuss those, advanced use cases as well. And we should, keep that in mind when designing young scheduling implementation API as well. But yeah, the point
Yeah,
would
yeah,
be, but yeah, yeah.
I totally agree. We don't have to do everything
Yeah.
perfectly. Anything that like can improve the current situation is definitely better. But by the way, what do you think about, because in my understanding, if we even have a plugin which does gang scheduling,
Mm-hmm.
uh, is the preemption as a part of the scheduling then?
You mean, yeah, it depends. Depending on the design, we can still use the current default preemption plugin to, run preemption process for gang pods as well. But if it's not, if it's not great, then we can implement, post future plugin within gang plugin, so that gang pods will get another um, preemption process apart from the current default
Yeah,
preemption plugin.
that's another aspect, how to do a higher level preemption. But I
Yes.
mean, internally, so we have a
Mm-hmm.
permit phase on which we uh, like group pods that are in scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the issues I think is that the preemption happens before that. So if
Yeah.
we decide that we have to do scheduling in a few like passes, make it more complicated. Whenever we put a node to be pod to be rescheduled again, it will trigger yet another preemption. So I,
Yeah.
I think that
So
we could think about how to change the preemption process, and all this asynchronous discussion about asynchronous API calls, I think might be relevant here as well. I think we could have in mind the scenario that we would like to do some scheduling that is not necessarily imply preemption yet.
So, okay, my point is that, yeah, so it really depends on how we implement Gang scheduling, because in my previous case, I mean, in my previous company, I developed such kind of Gang plugin, Gang scheduling plugin. And at that time, we don't have to, it's like, let's say we have 5 pods, right? One and 2 pods will, it gets scheduled and go to permit extension point, waiting for the pods. Let's say the third pod couldn't get any place, so it goes unschedulable and trigger preemption, right? Then we didn't care about the remaining pod, remaining fourth and fifth pod. So we only trigger the third pod's preemption. So at least third pod will get the praise after the preemption, but we don't care about fourth and fifth pod. And those pods will probably, you know, may or may not trigger preemption uh, in the later scheduling cycles. So it's like we schedule one by one. So after that, after the third pod preemption, we probably withdraw scheduling whole 5 pods. First and second pod will get scheduled somewhere uh, like the previous scheduling cycles, and third pod will hopefully get the praise because of the preemption, and fourth spot may or may not get the praise. If it doesn't get, then it triggers preemption again. All bots will be coming back at the queue, but fourth bot at least triggered the preemption. So in the next scheduling cycle as well, then it hopefully get the praise because of the preemption, and yeah, it goes something like that. But of course, we can consider about, you know, other designs as well, like maybe try scheduling all parts first and trigger preemption for, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like it really depends on how we implement the basic gang scheduling feature. Then the preemption discussion will be comes later, I think.
Yeah. I think there are few different levels in which we can do group scheduling. If we don't care about like correlated placement of those pods, then probably the problem is simpler, because every pod only once gets assigned, and the only thing what we can try to avoid is to preempting pods if the gang was not permitted to go, because it's wasting, like there is no point in preempting something when we don't like let the gang to be scheduled, bind it.
But preemption may help the scheduling of those gangs as well, right?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, But you know, if for instance all 5 pods needs to preempt something, so the first 4 pods preempted and found a place, but the fifth is not able to preempt anything else, then we end up with failed group scheduling, and with several pods being preempted. So
Yeah, I think that's in some sense, again, it really depends on the implementation and how we design the gang scheduling, but in some sense, that's correct behavior, right? Because, okay, at least 4 pods will get the place because of the preemption. And if spot maybe have some special, other scheduling constraint and couldn't get the praise, but eventually, let's say the cluster would scale, create some node, then if spot may get the maybe able to schedule there, then the preemption for those first 4 pods is not waste, right? Because at least it makes the praise and eventually it's worth scheduling for the group.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it mm, really depends on how we want to implement the scheduling flow of those kind of scheduling, yeah,
Yeah, we
gang
need to
stuff.
remember that we have queue. So
Hmm.
we have so the cases like when we need to uh, ag- like orchestrate more than one workload to be scheduled, then of course queue need to take care to not lead us into a deadlock situation when we have 2 workloads trying to schedule. They preempt something, but they are both are not able to actually to run because one will be waiting for another. So I don't think we have to solve this kind of problems.
Sorry, I don't get that.
So
How does it look? Mhm.
if we have 2 workloads which don't fit together, but if we start like gang scheduling uh, of both of them together, then we may end up with deadlock because one will be half scheduled and another one will be half scheduled as well.
Yeah, okay, that one. Yeah, right. So,
But for those cases, I think we have queue which uh, should take care
but
of it. And
yeah, but we shouldn't assume that all the clusters would have you, right? So basically, you would help something for us for gang scheduling, maybe, but we shouldn't assume that the cluster that's using gang scheduling would get queue as well. So
okay,
basically, we should try to make the schedule Kubernetes scheduler capable of gang scheduling better, even there's no queue controller in the cluster.
okay, yeah. So I think we will be having those discussions.
Mm.
Probably not necessarily this cycle, release cycle, but
Yeah, we should keep discussing. The API part would be, I don't know. Yeah, our concern mainly would be the internal implementation stuff, I guess. Because as I said, API should be and can be decided based on the discussion with other teams. Internal discussion would be more focused for us because that's our responsibility.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay, so that was it about gang scheduling.
yeah. Many unknowns already. So Do you want to start as a cap from the first point, or do you want to start as a, you know, like a, do you want to start casual discussion on Google Doc or somewhere? Either would be fine, but
You mean about gang scheduling?
yeah, gang scheduling. So do you want to start cap right away, or do you want to start discussing something on Google Doc first and, you know,
I
the
think I
conclusion on the
should
cap?
start on Google Docs.
Abdulah's one?
Sorry?
Abdulah's one? Which
I
one?
didn't get.
Abdulah's documentation.
You mean Abdullah?
Yeah. Maybe I don't pronounce it correctly. Abdullah. So the previous lead. I mean, technically current lead. Okay, so you mean this one?
Okay.
Okay, it's okay. Sorry, it's not. It's for reservation. Okay, I I mean, yeah, I don't remember its reservation one. It's different. Okay.
Yeah, reservation is a related thing.
Okay.
We have a few like requests from cluster autoscaler. They think about uh, reserving some space for after scale up. So they want to scale up clusters and make sure that scheduler does not schedule there anything else. But what I'm thinking about the next iteration is simply extending this nominated node name concept to improve the communication between the scheduler and cluster autoscaler, and possibly even queue and kube scheduler, because they are doing a similar thing. So queue is scheduling something and expects kube scheduler to simply execute the plan. So potentially we could also let queue set nominated no names. That would be something I think worth discussing, and yeah, it will also solve a few problems. So I think what I'm going to do is to write some doc about nominated no name and propose how it can be used for at least simplifying the communication. It's
Yeah.
And I think the next interesting topic is moving to staging repo.
Yes. Let me find the.
Something clean up packages. So actually, you can say I shared a document with you, a Google Doc with you.
Oh, really?
I thought so. I mean, I used the email in your GitHub profile.
Okay. I'll check. But let me once stop this.
I pasted it into the
Okay, you did it.
Oh, good,
meeting
thank
docs.
Okay, I was going to do that as well.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I was thinking you might have missed that, having Kubicon and stuff.
Oh yeah, maybe I missed this one.
Yeah. So I looked at what's possible to move there right away easily and what's more complicated. And I had I will definitely need your help understanding the action type and the other one, the resource, I think enums, because it's because it's more complicated. There are some of the values are public exported and some of them are package protected, and I'm not really sure how to go around that. Maciek suggested that maybe we could move the whole type, the whole code to the staging repo, since those package protected values are used in some file that we could use move to staging as well. But I'm not really sure how to go about that, and I couldn't looking at the PR that actually introduced those package protected values. I didn't entirely understand why this solution was chosen and not some other way, but I'm sure that
can look actually into the code. So the action type.
This one, right? Action type. You mean internal one is which one?
Something like pod update.
Update pod other, right?
This one?
Yeah. This one, and as well, in action type, you have update pod other. There's this value.
Okay.
Yeah. So I understand how it's used, and I see the use case for that. Only I'm not sure if there's any way to split it, to extract it so as not to move it to staging. I basically need your advice.
Can we just leave this one in this package? I mean internal package, and move only public ones to the staging repo?
Can you do that? I mean, are we allowed to do stuff like that? Will it compile?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we should. I don't know.
I think we can extend actually the structure. Oh, it's
Yeah, you can do this, but it's IOTA field, so it won't be that easy to add this
Okay,
one field. Yeah, we would
okay.
need to write the value explicitly for this field.
Okay. Okay, I see. So because of this IOTA stuff. Yeah, maybe we can just stop using number on it. I don't know. Drawing and simply add. Then we can remove those stuff as well.
Or we could have two enums, right? As well, convert between them. One public, one internal, and convert between them. But I'm not sure if we want to do this because it sounds complicated.
Sorry, which is complicated? Yeah, Majid, go ahead.
As I wrote in the talk, we can also move everything to the staging zone whole enum, and the one function that uses this private update for the other. and then
Yeah, but then that function depends on features, so we'd have to. You mentioned we'd have to pass the features as an argument, as a parameter of the function, and well, probably that's doable. The question is if that function is used anywhere outside our code base.
Sorry, which function?
like
Maciek, do you remember the name?
okay, it's in events go. It's that pod scheduling properties change.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, which one?
You have to change the file to events go in the same directory.
Let's go.
That is this first function here.
This one doesn't have to be moved to staging repo, right?
Yeah, I was wondering about that, especially because it depends on features. But then it also uses this. You can see it uses unschedulable pod. That's like 3 lines
Update
below
pod
the
other.
blue line. And then it uses action type update pod other right there. So it uses the package protected stuff. So if we move the action type to staging, then this function here, pod scheduling properties change, would also be probably need to move.
Yeah, but
we'd also have to move
think
it.
But
So
what we yeah, please.
yeah. Yeah, I think we don't have to move this function first. And can we just do like, as I said, we move those public ones only to staging repo and leave private ones here. Like, right? Then we would move this type to staging repo as well. Then staging repo. Can we do that like this?
Are we allowed to do that? Because I don't know go well enough. So if you say it's possible, then we can try doing that.
I think we should, we can do it. But as much I said, as much I said, it's currently implemented as number, and we are using this kind of enum magic in Golang. So if we simply move those types to outside, and we can, if we do like for not action type, then we have to assign the number so that it doesn't conflict to the staging repos number. It's like it automatically assigns the number to each element, this one. So we have to care about
Yeah,
the
I see what you
number
mean.
conflict. Yeah. So that's the reason. Maybe we want to change it simply to string, then change it to string, then like every const value would simply
it's not
define
that
the
easy, I think, because if
okay.
we want to match an event action type, we do logical end to check if the event is relevant.
So much stuff. You mean
Yeah,
this
here
one, right?
you can see, yeah.
Yeah.
So I am wondering if we cannot like, okay, don't move the whole function to the staging, but only some sub-functions that will allow us to build from them the pod scheduling properties change, for example. Because we, we want to get access to two private fields, right? First is this update pod other. Probably we could have some function that will magically do something with those events.
But that means that this new function in staging would also have to be public, right? The question is like if we want to expose that. On the other hand, maybe it's okay.
So
The first question is why this field is private at the first point.
Yeah.
Why this is private in the first point, you say?
Yes.
Because it's not intended to be used from outside users.
okay, but why exactly?
But when, sorry?
Why exactly? So this is pod update other.
Pod update other, it means that pod is updated, but it's not label update, scale down update, toleration update, etc. It's other updates. And that's the definition of update pod other. And the problem here is that, so basically in most cases, if users want to look at other pod update, then they should simply use the general update one. Otherwise, this update pod other could be changed. For example, I mean, let's say we additionally create update pod annotation or something. Then after that, before this change, if pod gets annotation change, it's classified as update pod other. But once we create update pod annotation, then pod annotation change will be included in this update pod annotation, and update pod other wouldn't get pod annotation change. So this update pod other could be, could be broken suddenly if we expose it to users. So basically, if user want to, for example, subscribe pod annotation change, they basically should just use update event. They can actually make some, future request for us to implement update pod annotation action type additionally. They do, but not, so that's the whole reason why we don't expose this update pod other.
So I don't entirely understand, why don't we use update internally as well? Why do we need a separate field for that?
Yeah.
We do this because updates will trigger all queuing hints for all, if you subscribe for updates, I don't know what, for some specific update event, if we trigger the generic update event, it will trigger all of those specific as well. If we trigger this update for the other, it will trigger only for those that subscribe to the generic update.
Yeah, right. So I think there could be some, so one solution could be like change the whole matching logic. As we are currently, yeah, we are currently matching the action type like this. But if we can actually change it if we want. Like, you know, it's just a historical reason using this kind of matching logic. As I said, if we move it to string, then maybe like we can do like, I don't know, we can have some namespace stuff like this, and match the specific event properly or something, looking at the prefix. Those are implementable, and I do think other ideas would be there.
Yeah, but I guess it will be much slower, and I think handling cluster events is something that we
Yeah, that's a
might
good point.
do very often. Well, we can think about this offline, I guess.
Yeah,
Are
this
there
is, yeah,
are there
implementation
some
detail.
other that it's worth to like discuss and bring up, Anya?
No, I think the other things were pretty straightforward. I wasn't sure, but that's a technicality. I think we can take that offline. Like there are functions that would probably need to be moved, but A, I'm not sure if all of them need to be moved. B, I'm not sure how technically you would. If you wanted to extract just move the header of the function and not the entire implementation, because it depends on Kubernetes/Kubernetes, then I'm not entirely sure how you would do that technically, but I'm thinking we can take that offline. Like, if there's anything else we want to talk about, then this can be pushed. But other stuff is seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, but do we have enumerated like the harder elements? So we have in red, of course, the files, which are a little bit more problematic, but do we have enumerated cases? What's problematic there?
Well, the only problematic is that I think action type and resource, because these are the two types where you have the values that are private, and that's probably will be one common approach for both. I'm not sure if it's a resource or if event resource, but there were two of them that had like private fields. But this is the only one that seems non-trivial, actually. The rest is pretty straightforward. Either you move the whole file or just the headers, like the interface.
Okay, so I guess we will need to have one or two refactoring PRs and the final move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, okay.
And the code freeze before the next release is August?
I guess so.
July?
July or August. It's usually like 3 months.
Okay. So we need to get this in before the code freeze, right? Not before the cap freeze, not before enhancement freeze, just before
Yeah, we
the
don't.
code freeze.
Yeah, just before the
Okay.
code freeze.
Okay. I think that's manageable, right?
Yeah, I think that's fine. And yeah, so non-technical stuff though, we probably have to do these kind of process, like sending email to SIG architecture and stuff.
Yeah, but we already have a staging repo for QB scheduler.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's staging / QB / scheduler, as far as I know.
Okay. Oh, for the
Yeah, so
configuration.
there's
And
the extender API and the QB
uh-huh.
configuration.
Okay, I don't remember that. Nice. So we can just use it. Awesome.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay. Pass function. Speeches as a yeah, this is possible.
Okay, so I think we should get also some feedback from people that are interested in actually doing that. So how do
Yeah,
we do that?
one theme we should discuss with would be cluster security. They are depending on our scheduling framework. So yeah, basically they should be able to just change the import path, but yeah, we can check with them just in case.
So do we have to move it in to a different path, or is it okay to have duplicated definition?
I think we should ask them to move to the staging repo as well, right?
Yeah.
But they are using the internal functions as well. I'm not sure.
I mean, the internal that are not exposed publicly, they wouldn't be using, right? Because they would need to implement their code in our packages then. So I am guessing they would not be using the package protected stuff. But this doc actually lists like everything that is public, like how to move it. Everything that is package public, then this is listed here. So that wouldn't break anyone who is using package public stuff, apart from the fact that they would need to update the import path, then that shouldn't break anyone.
Yeah, I think so too. They just should change the import path for those types and stuff. But probably
That's the
they
intent.
can, yeah, maybe they cannot eliminate all the import paths to Kubernetes because they should be using plugins implementation as well to simulate the scheduling result within cluster scaler. So for them, they cannot move all the import paths to Kubernetes to the staging repo, but these types and interfaces they can move to staging repo.
Yeah, the framework would be moved, and the entry plugins would be probably some next step, maybe in the next release.
Yeah, that would be next step, but I'm not sure. Yeah, we can discuss. I mean, the scheduler team also wanted to import the plugin implementation so that they don't have to import the Kubernetes repository, but recently they don't respond. So I'm not sure if they still want to import the plugin implementation from staging repo, or they are just okay with importing Kubernetes. But yeah, that's potential next step
Yeah,
we
we
can
should find
discuss.
like all interesting parties and
Yeah,
talk to them. I will have to run for another meeting.
Oh yeah, so we can wrap up. Thanks everyone to joining this time's community meeting. And yeah, see you the next time.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Thanks for
Bye.
the discussion. Bye.
Thanks,
Thanks,
bye.
bye.